Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Games Industry Executive Summary. This is Casey, and of course, we are joined by the analyst, Manu Rosier. Hello, Manu. It's
Hello.
been a while.
Absolutely, yes. I mean, the two of us, because Dave has been holding the fort.
Dave has been holding the fort. Are you sure?
See, perfect.
Um,
See, so popular. Are you
yes,
sure?
before the call, we were talking about, are you sure?
Yes, because for some reason my kids have decided to be super fan of the Invincible TV show and comic book at the same time.
Well,
So
I have to ask before you continue, because you said kids. How old are they?
15 and 13. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. It's no, it's quite a good TV show, and yeah, I'm watching it a little bit also while I'm doing other stuff because they felt I need to see it. So
Are
they,
they doing? Are they doing like? Because I the first time I discovered it was on Prime, watching the series. And the first time I saw it, I was like, "What the hell is this crap?" And then all of a sudden, you're hooked. I'm like, "What the hell?" Um, but I'm not sure. Did they like? Do you know? I mean, if your kids are buying the comic books, did they
yeah,
start?
they've read the comic books afterwards. Yes, yeah,
Got it. Got it. Now I see.
and I
Um,
mean they never ever watch TV show
yeah.
ever. They watch
Ah.
YouTube, but this time they were like super hooked into watching the whole 3 season now.
Now I see. It's
Yeah.
very interesting because it's you'd think that we are like we have too many superheroes and we have too many like superhero based type of shows and comic books and all that
Hmm.
stuff, and we're just oversaturated and we can't take more. But then you have something like this showing up, and then they've built such an amazing world in that series.
I think maybe there is also an element where they just there is no legacy. So my kids they kind of appropriate these superheroes because they are superheroes of their own time, rather than Superman or Batman, which are also more of a dark tone, I would say. Here it's just about a young kid that's looking for his real space in life. It's just a college level, so it can also resonate better with my kids that are like teenager level, because behind just the superhero story, it's the relationship with the father, it's the relationship with other people, relationships. So it's a bit of everything changing, understanding who you really are. There are many layers in there that makes it compelling, and this is just it's very bloody, cartoonesque in violently cartoonesque, I would
Yep.
say. And
But it's interesting you mentioned some of these topics because I feel like it's a bit not necessarily realistic, but they have a bit more down to earth kind of take
mhm.
on, because if you look back and you mentioned like if it's the Spider-Mans, the Batmans, or the Superman, in those it's more like idealistic. They will
Yeah,
never do wrong, or they're like or
yeah.
their challenges are mostly centered around the enemy being a challenge rather than life, real life, so to say. And
Hmm.
that's kind of like I think the flavor that Invisible brings to the table. If it's like father son or father daughter, whatever you want to call relations, or if it's um, you know school and balancing school with other activities that you're doing, all that type of stuff. Of course, just quickly before we dive into talking about games, for those who just joined us, please like, subscribe, do all these things. I should have said this in the beginning. I'm really sorry, but it helps us a lot. We would really, really appreciate that. And Anu, top story that we need to talk about today is Vampire the Masquerade, Bloodlines 2. Have you played it, by the way?
Why would I?
Why? But that's sad to hear when you say, "Why would I?" Why would you not? Or,
Because I have only so much time and I don't play average games. Very
oh my
simple.
God, you're such an
Yes.
elitist. You don't play
No,
average
but
games.
it's just I remember playing the first one. I
Yeah.
think it was great back then. I think if you play it now, it's going to be a different story. And I've been really struggling to just immerse myself in this kind of longer playtime type of games.
Um, Actually, I want to but you finished Clair Obscur, right?
No, 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 no. I gave up
Really?
very quickly. Yeah, 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 I gave
You
up.
did not oh my god.
No,
Okay,
no,
then
no.
you're missing out, bro.
I finished Silent Hill 2 and it already felt like long, even if it's maybe 10 or 15 hours.
Silent Hill 2 was a great game. I think it just overstayed its welcome, and they could have saved so much money by removing one of the, I guess, sections or like
Hmm.
either
Yeah.
like the hospital. The hospital was great. The prison or one of the other ones, they could have removed one, and I would have had a
Hmm.
as good or better experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just quickly on Vampire the Masquerade, Bloodlines. The first game was launched 2004,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is pretty crazy. And then Bloodlines 2, I believe this trailer that we're looking at, I think this is like one of the first trailers that they showed for the game. And I think it was like announced like I feel like it's like 2015-ish,
Oh, yeah,
something like
there's
that.
been development hell. Yes.
It has been. Um, but it's pretty crazy because my takeaway has always been, and I would love to hear your thoughts. Like as soon as there were troubles, as soon as there were these announcements, but then they were pulling it back. My takeaway was like, you should have just canceled this like 5 years ago. Saved so much trouble,
Hmm.
time, money, and all the resources that you've drained into this thing. Um, any thoughts about that?
I think when if it's a new IP, maybe, but when it's an existing IP, it's very difficult to move away from that because then what do you do, you know? And you've also created the hype, and I'm sure it would have been way more successful. It was really good, you know, because the hype was there. So yeah, it's a bit of a sad story. So many years and to end up with. I've not played the game, so maybe I can understand it can resonate to some people, but when I just see the review in general, it's not looking great.
What was it reviewed at? Do you know what the Metacritic is?
Yeah, what? Sorry,
I was saying, do you know what the Metacritic is? Let me see. I'll pull it up on
70?
my
I
side.
don't know. I don't know.
62.
Yeah, 62. You understand why I don't try.
Yeah, if Edge magazine gives you 50, that's trouble. But interesting, like you have Game Reactor and PC Gamer giving it like 75 plus,
Hmm.
but there aren't many. Well, IGN gave it 70, so it seems like it's an okay game. I know that the you know
Yeah.
players to be a bit more harsh because the user score is 4.6.
Hmm.
But it does feel like it's one of those things where it's okay, it's an okay game. The problem is, to your point, I assume, the market is filled with so many good games, it's going to be hard to justify playing an okay game.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you are a Call of Duty or like a regular IP that's people are just hooked by your IP, whatever the quality is, or even the EAFC and that kind of game.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. No, there is no. I mean, we say that for a long time. There is no room for average anymore. You cannot, and even the big publishers don't have the capacity anymore to ship box of bad games and sell millions of a bad game. You know, it's not possible anymore.
Oh, but here's an interesting thing. I mean, Paradox went through a transformation a couple years ago. I mean, they
Hmm.
hired a CEO. They had like a C-level team that was very ambitious and wanted to do things outside the, let's say, we want to call it the wheelhouse of what Paradox does. And then things maybe didn't go the way that they wanted, and then they scaled back, refocused on kind of their bread and butter, which is I assume are they called 4K games and like strategy and grand strategy is probably the
Hmm.
right word that they have invented and
Hmm.
used for many years. And this was kind of like the last remnant, I believe. The
Hmm.
Bloodlines 2 game was the last kind of like game from that era prior to reconstructing. Um, and it feels like I don't know. It's interesting that they actually did decide to continue to invest in this game. And I know the game has been handed over from one developer to another, and it has gone through its fair share of kind of like, you know, development hell. But I just find it very odd that they didn't make that decision like 3, 4, 5 years ago. Yeah, so the Chinese room is the developer who took over development. If you saw the trailer, the first trailer, it had Heartsuit Labs, and I think this was like prior to 2023. So it seems like they tried to salvage whatever they could. And I have a feeling this is maybe like the last game that maybe Paradox does outside of their wheelhouse. They are very active with licensing their IPs to others to work on their games. I mean, we saw Shark Mob try to do a vampire related. Sorry, I forgot that. I meant the Vampire the Masquerade type game, and that didn't go so well because it was like almost like a bare bones battlegrounds-esque type of game, a bit too late to the party, so to say. But yeah, where do you think Paradox goes from here? Do you think they will just continue to kind of like invest in what their bread and butter, and then licensing, I guess?
I mean, Europa Universalis that's doing quite well. So just checking. City Skyline, they kind of moved away, right? City Skyline, they let them,
absolutely.
I don't know them in detail, so I don't want to give any advice or that kind of thing. But it feels more like it's a PC and strategy type of experts, and maybe they are not designed to do big RPGs or things.
No, that is correct. I'm actually going to pull up two things that I want to show you. The first one is probably their portfolio, and we can go through it a bit, and maybe, I mean, you played or know of some of these games. And it's interesting, by the way, Manu, that some of their games actually are in the top 20 on Steam today, if you want to go and check that out. But we're looking at Europa Universalis. I mean, Stellaris, by the way, that game had like a moment, and obviously they moved it over to console as well. Had like a lot of success there. Crusader Kings 3, that was a huge game, I believe 3-4 years ago when it released. It took over almost like because they released it also on Game Pass, which was a huge deal. And then you have the Hearts of Iron and all these, like, you know.
Very Battlefield, like strategy Battlefield type of game. But yeah, absolutely. And Stellaris, and then Age of Wonder, Surviving Mars also, which was an interesting little game, little strategy, a bit of a city builder. So it feels like Bloodline doesn't fit in their portfolio.
Yeah.
That's just a long story short.
So I just want to pull up their stock as well, just to kind of like follow the trajectory of that company to see what's up. But I believe they've had a lot of success the past couple of years. And I just want to show that quickly, and then we can maybe move on to another item that we have on the list. Like I said, it's pretty stable-ish. I mean, the Swedish market is a bit, I would say, bad to have a video game company listed, to be honest with you. But they're doing pretty good, I would say, generally speaking. So it looks good. Cool. Manu, what other things are you seeing that you feel is... should we dive into the SteamDB top 20 list and see if there's anything happening there?
We have we've seen some people. It's kind of funny. The same people that said that it's impossible that Battlefield will beat Call of Duty. no
Yes.
saying that Call of Duty is doing worse than Battlefield. So yeah, it's good. There are some bits of information about Call of Duty, whether it's, I think it was in the UK or in some other countries. So the struggle is there as expected. I think the combination of Arc Raiders and a good Battlefield 6 and
Yep.
not probably a great Call of Duty like just Black Ops 7 after 6. It might be the year of the reality check for Call of Duty.
I think it's like a generational thing in some sense. I mean, it's a combination. It's always a combination of things.
Yeah.
But I feel like in some parts, it feels like it's one of those. It's fatigue. In other parts, it's a generational shift. In other parts, it's like a longing for something else, for a different flavor. Let's say, with Battlefield and Ark and all these other games that came out.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts there?
Yeah, I think there is some alternative this year. So there are some good shooters. If you want to play a shooter, you can, for once, you can play Battlefield instead of Call of Duty. I think the Call of Duty audience is captive, but to a certain point. I think the audience of EAFC or of NBA 2K, for example, are even more captive because you play football because you like football. You don't play a sport game. So
Yeah.
I think probably there is, and whenever there is something else, and at the same time the offering of the year is not very compelling, they are struggling. I think maybe when the game is going too much into fantasy, to futuristic, into robot, it starts struggling also.
Yeah, that's what happened last time, right? With Advanced Warfare. Was it Advanced Warfare? The broke the horse's back. Infinite. Thank you. Yeah,
because you have modern, you have advanced, and then you have infinite.
It's, oh my god! Yeah, you never want to go into the infinite world.
And here you see here it's more like a cyborg and a
robot
gadget. It's more like Battlefield 2042 than Battlefield 6.
It's also like, every time they use like a famous actor in the game, that's kind of like, because when Infinite they had what's his name now? I forgot his name.
Keith, Jon Snow. Jon Snow.
Did they? Oh yeah. But they also had like that guy. What's his name now? In the House of Cards. Yeah, Kevin Spacey.
It was in Advanced Warfare, and then Jon Snow was in Infinite Warfare. Yes.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah. Just it's nice. We've seen many games with famous actors failing because the writing wasn't good, the story wasn't good, and a famous actor doesn't save any game, right?
No, absolutely not. None. No.
It can amplify a good game. Yes, like Keanu Reeves in Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah, it amplified it. It didn't make it better necessarily, but it did amplify it a bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then you have like they tried to do Peter Dinklage in Destiny, and then I don't know why they removed his voice.
The voice, yes. Maybe
I still have the original. I'm not sure if it's worth anything. If anybody knows, like I have the ghost.
Oh, nice.
Yes, and it has the Peter Dinklage voice because they changed the voice, right?
Yeah, completely.
Yeah. So if anybody wants to cough up like $10,000 or something like that, let me know. This is available.
Good idea. Yes, good price.
Okay, yeah. So and then of course on top of all of this is the fact that you had Arc Raiders and Battlefield, who had probably a better delivery, more unique experience, different from what you're used to, and then I guess a better proposition all around. I'll pull up some Arc Raiders, by the way, and did you guys ever talk about Arc Raiders?
No, not in the show. I talk about Arc Raiders in my WhatsApp group because I bought the game. I played solo. I was killed 3 times for no reason, and I refunded the game. That's why I started with Arc Raiders. Yes.
Get out of here. I haven't played it in weeks because I was traveling.
Yeah.
But the first 2 weeks was just pure fire. And my personal gang that is playing, they are extremely active. They're having tons of fun. It's such a pleasant surprise. It's such a
Oh,
pleasant
absolutely.
surprise.
I'm sure about that. I just think that the onboarding is bad. That's all.
Uh,
For single player, for solo players, I want to be onboarded in a server where I'm protected until I understand a bit better the game, and
I
I'm
see.
not being attacked by more powerful players. I mean, I have nothing and they just kill me. You know, I have the default thing, and
Yeah.
why are you doing that? So I don't want to fight. You know, I want PVE for starters. I want like the Division. You know, the Division
Okay.
was great because you had the PVE experience.
Fair enough.
And then you had the PvPvE in the Dark Zone, and I think that was perfect. And I understand that from a squad-based perspective, it's much better to have this PvPvE. But I mean, it's also good for Twitch and for video, for TikTok videos.
Did you play at the very start, or did you wait until you played? When did you start?
I wait 1 or 2 weeks, I think, before the game was.
Oh, okay.
After it was launched.
Because my understanding is that the play style of people changed with time. So I remember, like, in the first week when I was playing solo, every time you meet a person, it's like, oh, don't shoot, and then you help each other out. But I hear from some videos and some people that right now it's a bit more brutal in solo than it used to be. I mean, even in the beginning, by the way, when you were playing like with 3 people or more than one person, it was very confrontational. It wasn't as much like, hey, let's just figure things out. It was very confrontational immediately, almost. But I like that, and I like the proximity chat, and I like how, like, so sometimes, like, this area that we're looking at right now, there's a big robot that you need to take down. And I remember, like, being on the rooftops shooting at the robot, and then all of a sudden somebody else showed up and they started shooting at it because they understood, okay, let's take it down together. And then what's interesting is once the robot got destroyed, we all went down and quickly like looted whatever, and then just like everybody like started running their own because they didn't want to get shot in the back, that kind of situation. So you get a lot of these cool, I think, organic moment gameplay that you normally wouldn't get. But I see your point with the, like, maybe you wanted like maybe at least like a 1, 2, 3 matches where you're a bit alone, where you could like learn
exactly. on my own pace, but again, I'm not here to give advice. I just share my experience there. So I've been thinking about rebuying it again and replaying it again, because when I see these TikTok videos, and I'm sure there is something I missed there, in the same way that there's something I missed in Helldivers 2. But if Helldivers 2 and Arc Raiders, I don't feel the fun, then maybe this is not games not for me. I really enjoy Escape from Duckov, which is a single player. I love it, but here I don't know. Maybe for some introverted people that don't need too much of a socialization, you're like, I just want to play on my own. I don't need these interactions. I don't need the stress of knowing if people are nice or not nice. I don't need that negativity in my life.
Fair enough. So I do want to ask you why you're not playing with your kids.
Because it's expensive and
Shooter of the year, bro.
And my kids are not into the serious business.
Okay, got it. So my kids are like, we just had a birthday party, so they're now 8 and 10, and they're all down. Like, let's go, let's do it. And we have like 3 TVs side by side, so that becomes really fun. But they get destroyed, unfortunately, because they're not skilled enough at this point.
But, I guess. But they will learn.
They will, absolutely. So here, I just wanted to show you Escape from Tarkov, which, funny enough, was released on the 15th of November, which is not far off from Arc Raiders. I mean, the numbers are not on the level that I thought they would be hitting. I don't know why the reviews are so negative right now. But
there are very good reasons for that.
Yeah. Something at all?
I don't remember if it's because of the monetization or like they came with something that I don't remember, but they didn't go into the player's way, I would say. Yeah.
Really?
They've done some. They've missed.
Like they missed the mark on some things? Is that what you're saying?
So yeah, I don't know exactly. I read some stuff over there, but there was like mostly a player review was based on some. It was not technical issue. I don't think so. It was more about the economy of the game.
Got it. I mean, it's a lot more hardcore game, is my understanding, right? With regards to like both from a minute-to-minute gameplay, but also like from a economic point of view, and like your losses and what you can lose and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then they also do the restarts. I think they restart the economy or restart the entire progression every now and then or something like that. So that could have a bit of impact on some people. It's interesting, by the way, that in Arc Raiders, the restarting of your progression is something you can choose to do, unlike in Tarkov, where it's everybody restarts regardless of what your opinions are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll move on. I think there was one more thing I wanted to talk to you about, and that was Battlefield. What's your take on the Battlefield situation right now? There's no situation. I meant as in the current state of Battlefield and the performance of Battlefield.
There's one thing about the cheating part, and I think some players are very vocal whenever the publisher enforce very strong anti-cheating systems, kernel level systems where they feel like they don't want to give access to whatever is in their machine. I mean, I struggle a bit with that, but anyway. But if at the same time it improved the experience for the majority of the players, that maybe it's something to accept. You cannot constantly complain about the cheaters, and then when a solution is offered. I think the problem right now of the EA solution is that it's not compatible with Linux, which means no Steam Deck, no computer with Linux. So maybe there is a way there to improve it from a player perspective. But it seems to be working, so I can understand that the publisher, when you see a solution working, you prefer to implement it for the greater good.
Yeah. I believe Helldivers also has like kernel level.
Valorant. I mean, I don't think it's malicious in the sense that they do that because they want to spy on you. I don't think that's the point. That's not. It's really more about that's the only solution they have right now, or the one they choose to remove the cheating problem. So anyway, so that's one thing. And then about Battlefield, I don't think the RedSec launch has helped as much as it was expected to help. It was supposed to increase the player base, right? The free to play RedSec Battle Royale, but we don't have any evidence that it really is boosting the engagement. When you see the numbers, they have never reached the launch level. So there will probably be the question internally of where should they double down? Where should the live service go? If the Battle Royale is not picking up, is it a problem of the game? I've not seen that it's particularly bad or anything, but it's maybe more a mismatch between just the IP DNA, which is PvP on smaller maps, and it's not an extraction shooter. It's not a battle royale, and it is what it is, right? So the question is really, if this doesn't work in terms of getting the millions and millions of players that they want, what is the alternative? Because they've already got all the hype about for the PvP part, so the premium experience, and I don't think that adding more maps or anything else will really move the needle. The game is already fixed. In the past, sometimes the game was broken, so they could do a new beat 1 year after, and then it was helping the sales. But here, I think they've captured already most of the players because the game was good at launch, yeah. Though, so
I guess your messages don't release unbroken games.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And the second message is, yeah, you still cannot be sure if a live service game will work. I don't know. I don't know what will happen with the title at this point, and I don't know what's the real potential of a PvP shooter. Because they did. I think they announced 7 million in a few days. There's probably a ceiling. Will the game be everlasting like Battlefield 4? Maybe. I've not seen them pushing Portal that much. The customization thing.
Those are some really good thoughts, Manu. I was about to say the exact same thing. If they kind of like reached the ceiling in some sense, and if the IP only can achieve so much considering what it's trying to do. With the RedSec, I did give it a go with the gang, like when it came out, but it was, I think it's one of those situations. So they tried to copy a lot of Call of Duty, which is not. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't think there's nothing wrong. I think that was actually the right thing to do. I think what is happening is that there isn't enough meat on the bones because Call of Duty has had this. They've had Warzone for like 6, 7 years now, something like that. And they have iterations of Warzone, right? So they've learned a lot, they've adjusted, they've changed so many things. But I think the depth of gameplay and the amount of things that you can do and all that stuff in Warzone, it was just so way ahead. So when you release RedSec, it's not as deep or it's not as wide as a game that is 5-6 years old that has been doing it for many years. Or balancing, there could be balancing issues. There could be like how you find equipment issues or whatever it is. So it felt a bit flat. It wasn't bad. It was more like, okay, this is the first iteration of it, which makes sense that it's not as successful or as big.
Yeah.
And there was obviously like as soon as Arc Raiders hit, we jumped over and like it was between night and day.
Never look back. Yes.
I don't want to say never, but I would say more like I think it's probably best to give it a couple of years to kind of like what is it called when you have a fruit that is
ripe?
Yes, thank you. Let it ripe a bit, or ripen. I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe at the same time, also they cannot release the map at the rhythm Call of Duty is doing because Call of Duty the maps are smaller. Half of them are remakes of existing maps. Yeah, it's you have the initial hype, okay, because the game is good, but ultimately it's still a battlefield.
Yeah, absolutely.
My kids are not interested because they were not interested before. They have no reason to be interested now. So that there is nothing new in the formula. It's just the polishing of a specific formula that was popular 20 years ago. It's still popular because I think the release of these two games also show that there are still many shooter players in the audience, but it also showed a limitation.
Yeah, I mean the top. We spoke about this before. Like the top 10 right now, you have Counter-Strike,
like shooting,
PUBG,
yes.
Arc Raiders, Delta Force. This is like crazy. I need to check out Delta Force really. Like I don't know a lot about it, but I need to really check it out because it's been consistently in the top 5 for the past 2 years.
Yeah.
And then
it's actually doing as good as Battlefield 6. It's a free-to-play, but Battlefield 6 is a free-to-play. But it didn't suffer. It didn't disappear, It didn't suffer that much from Battlefield 6 launch. And I think it's very Chinese
flavored.
Regional.
And then on top of all of that, you have Apex that's still alive and kicking in the top 10 on Steam at least. And then, of course, Battlefield. Rust is another one. And I was gonna, but here's something that caught my eye that I would love for you to. I'm not sure if you know. Do you know anything about this game called Where Winds Meet?
Yeah, sure. You don't?
Wait, did you guys talk about it?
I don't think so, but it's open world RPG action adventure Chinese based in ancient China. So yeah, it's quite popular. I haven't played it. I got some feedback. It seems that it's very it feels a lot like an MMORPG, even when you play single player. So it's a bit it's not great, I would say, when you play single player. But
Mm.
yeah, I think it's an interesting one, and yeah, it's doing well. And let's see if it's become a success story or if it fades out. But it's been consistent. It's been released 3 weeks ago.
It's free to
Stable.
play. Was it free to play? You
Yeah,
said.
free to play. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Chinese. I mean, we spoke about this last week when you weren't here. Chinese developers have just like quality, the consistency, the originality, let's say, of
Hmm.
gameplay and titles. Like they're
Yeah.
hitting all the marks, which is fantastic. Who do you think is playing these games, by the way? I mean, do you think it's same thing with that other game, Naraka Blade Point? It's the same thing for me. Like these two games bring a completely different flavor and way of doing free to play that we're not used to here in the West. But I wonder who is is it like is it a mixture of people from both ends of the world, or is it like
I think
mostly?
it's skewed toward Asia for sure. Absolutely.
It
Yeah,
is.
yeah. It's skewed toward Asia, and there are so many players on Steam from Asia right now that it's just only a fraction of them needs to play for the title to be in the top 10.
That's absolutely true. Um, and this is like I'm getting some Sekiro feelings to a
Yeah,
certain degree from this game. I think with the
yeah,
parrying
absolutely.
system. It looks. I mean, the
Yeah,
game looks amazing, by the way.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And it came out of the blue. Like I never heard about this game before. We never spoke about it this year.
No, because you never know which one will stick.
Ah,
Uh, Plenty of games either releasing or announced, and they've been Wukong, they've been Wushang, they've been this and that. Some of them are really pure single player experience. This one
yeah.
is not. And it caters to a type of audience that just like grinding in an RPG with some kind of story and some adventure and discovery, I would say.
Is this more like sorry, Manu? Is this more like in the Genshin Impact type world in terms of like of games?
It's more like Witcher, I would say. I mean, it's in terms of design. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. But it's interesting that you mentioned that, and it's like it's free. So it's like very interesting how they have. I guess somehow they need to make money, so monetization. How they did that for this type of game, it's very interesting.
I think there's also a big difference between the historical publisher in the West and the Chinese and Korean is that they're not afraid to invest and then monetize. I think there's also a big difference. And if at some point, yes, it's not profitable, then they will adjust. But they have more funding to just try things.
That's such a good point. So what you're referring to, and correct me if I'm wrong, I assume what you're referring to is like they give the title a chance, or they like to kind of like find its footing instead of like having this expectation that we're gonna sell 10 million copies on day one.
Yeah, or I mean, it's a free to play. So they can't sell. Or maybe it's a chicken and egg story. It's like they cannot make it successful from launch, so they have to give it time. You don't know we don't know if they expected 5 million concurrent player on Steam at launch, or if they expected 100, and they are fine with that. So that part we don't know. But and I think it reflects the mobile gaming approach. You have way more tentative games on mobile that are very very quickly being sunset. But the publisher, they at least they try, and because all these companies they come from markets where it's still mobile first markets, then they're just using the same development and publishing mechanics than mobile games. I think that's also one of
Ah,
the reasons.
that's interesting. And
You
I
throw
guess
you
their
throw 10
audience.
games on the wall and you see which one is going to stick. It's not something that Activision or Sony can do because their production value is so high. But you can do that if you have cheaper maybe workforce and you can recycle and try different formulas.
There's another thing I'm noticing, which is this is a very Chinesey game from a looks perspective. I can't judge, obviously. I don't know the culture, but it looks very
It is
Chinesey.
based in China, yes.
Yeah, it's based in China. The characters have Chinese names. Their stance, the way they talk,
Chinese
the way they move.
developer.
Yep, it's pretty cool. Characters look Chinese, most of them, I guess, if that's a thing you want to note on. but it's super interesting to see
Yeah.
see. And
Let's see. Let's talk about it in 6 months and see where it is. That's
absolutely,
just
absolutely. And I will also try to do my part on Delta Force and see if I learn something new about, like, how come that game is in the top 10 for the past year or so. Okay, Manu. Any other final words in terms of looking at the the Substack? Sorry, not the Substack. It is the Substack. The Guys Weekly Substack. Are there any other?
I think you remember the first Descendant, which was also a tentative for this kind of RPG open world persistent game.
Okay.
So huge success in the first weeks, and then it disappeared very quickly. And now there is really a will to redemption arc, as they call that. So to really come back with something that would bring the lapsed player back and also make it a bit more can I say, secure long-term engagement, which they did not manage to do at the beginning. There was a lot of hype, and then the players, they went away as quickly as they came. So yeah, it's a big bet. It's Nexon behind it, huh?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't tell you this because you weren't here last week, but when I was in Korea, I was like, because you go to this area where it's Nexon and NeoWiz and some other companies, like, back to back, and the buildings are huge. Like, those are huge, complex buildings. And I was like, okay, holy shit! Like, gaming in Korea is huge. These companies are huge. They're putting out, like, they're investing and putting out these games. I was lucky enough to go through, like, one of the corridors where the awesome people behind Lies of P, they were making the second game. So that was really cool. But yeah, I mean, it's incredible to summarize, kind of, like, that trip. Okay, I'll keep a look at. I'll keep an eye out for the Descendants as well. Funny enough, I saw that you wrote here that Helldivers is doing a movie, and it's like, Starship Troopers. Obviously, Helldivers was inspired by Starship Troopers, so I hope that movie's gonna find success, and I'm looking forward to watching that movie. Cool.
They try to do follow-up of Starship Troopers, and don't watch them. So
they are, they're trash. They're trash. It felt very off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Manu, I think we've reached the end here. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Obviously, go to guysweekly.substack.com, subscribe to the best and only newsletter you need in the industry, and then subscribe, do all these things. We'd really appreciate that. And then, of course, Manu, it was a pleasure talking to you today. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone, and we will see you next week.
Thank you. Bye-bye.